Welcome back to Turning the Key to Real Estate. I'm your host, Nicholas Feagley.
And Heather Petrone-Shook.
Well, everybody, we are still in Pittsburgh, round 2 of our morning interviews. And you should recognize this face. David Onufer is back to join us from...
But he's solo this time.
Solo this time. Last time he was late to the couch over coffee.
I was fairly on time. I was fairly on time today.
You were fine. You were perfectly fine.
5-minute grace period.
Perfectly
for the way I operated.
Don't listen to him.
David, we came to your city.
Well, thank you for coming.
And I got lost 3 fucking times again.
Well,
those damn bridges.
I just let him drive just so I can laugh.
I'm sure it's an experience.
Well, it is, because I'll say to him, you need to be in the right lane in half a mile. Like, you realize
and then she
that,
waits
right?
until we pass the exit to go, yeah, that was where you were turning.
And that was this way. We're going to Starbucks, and we passed the entrance. I said, didn't you want to go to Starbucks? And we're sitting at the traffic light. I said, well, you might as well just go to Einstein Bagels. it's right there.
Get some of those gluten-free bagels.
I can navigate everywhere except for Pittsburgh for some reason.
It's
confusing.
Once you get out of when you're in the city, like where we're at now and like where I live, it's fairly. There's several main drags, and if you get to know them, that's fairly easy to maneuver. But yeah, once you get out of the burbs, there's so many hills and
the bridges.
And the bridges, yeah. It's
deer.
And
a lot of deer.
And turkeys.
You didn't even see the 3 last night.
I asked you to
or
stop
this morning.
so we could take a picture. I asked you could stop.
So we are probably a little delirious, full disclosure, because we're both only running on like 5 hours of sleep.
That's okay. But you say deer, though. Actually, it's very funny. There's a big cemetery down here, Allegheny Cemetery. It's one of the biggest in Pittsburgh, one of the more famous ones. They actually have it's like its own colony of deer that live there.
Really?
Because they know that they're protected and like they can't be hunted in the cemetery. It's pretty interesting.
Oh.
Really, really interesting. Sometimes they get out of the neighborhoods, but it's
well.
Yeah.
Well, they can't be hunted in the neighborhoods where I live.
Right. They were talking about bringing bow and arrow hunters in to try to. In all the parks, literally, because it's a big problem, eating things and getting hit, causing traffic accidents, things like that. Just really
natural
done that
selection.
In Philly.
Yeah,
the bow and arrow hunters.
Natural selection.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Unfortunately, but
So we're excited. We're going to descend upon your listing today.
Oh yeah.
Because you're having an open house.
Because it's over at 3, right?
From 1 to 3. So you guys.
So we're done around 2.
We'll be.
So I have
as long as I get my bundt cake.
Offer to make to you.
Okay.
I have the full camera remote system with us. If you want to do a full live tour.
We could do that if we have time. The only caveat to that is I do have a 3:30 showing. Just right over the hill, so we'd have to see what time you get there. But yeah, I'd be happy to do that if you have the time.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, David, the last time you were on with us, we were just talking, horror stories, fun things that have happened to us, and just talking in general. But everybody didn't get to meet and understand you.
Yes, David.
So,
who is David?
Talk to us about you and how you got into the industry, why you stay in the industry, and just like your journey through this, because you've got some tenure.
Yeah. It's 10 years. 10 years this year, so that I guess it puts me into the category.
And you're only breaking 35.
I know.
Yeah, that puts you 20. So just to give people perspective, that was 2014 again, right in the lull of the recession.
Right. Just coming out of it, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
we're just coming out of the bottom part of it.
Exactly.
So
well, the things that probably people don't know is actually my family was in complementary industry, being the moving and storage business, and especially trucking. So we had logistics. But basically, at one point in time, our family had the biggest moving company in Pittsburgh. It stemmed from my great grandparents years ago. Actually, 1924. So the company's still around. So it'll be 100 years this year.
Wow.
Started hauling ice and coal. Ice for ice boxes and coal for the furnaces. Yeah. It was kind of. Did I have to explain that?
I like how you looked at the young one. You looked at the young one and explained that, and just figured I knew what that was.
Okay, so I know what coal is used for, and I know back in the day you had to...
I knew what the icebox thing was. Okay, go ahead, David.
So eventually, that went by the wayside. Fortunately, my grandmother's brother was a manager at the Westinghouse plant in East Pittsburgh, where they started manufacturing refrigerators. and started delivering refrigerators, and people started to amass trucks, and people started to call on them to move pieces of furniture and then whole houses, and it really just developed into a really neat business. And interestingly enough, my great grandmother was the brains behind the operation. So in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and even into the 50s, she was really the powerhouse.
Nice.
That ran the business. So for a woman in
Back
that
then.
era,
Yeah.
in that industry, was unheard of. But she really built that business. And when my grandfather came back from the World War II, he finished his degree. He actually, we didn't find out this until after he passed away, but he actually had, he worked with Eisenhower kind of in the logistics of troops in England, and he liked him so much, he actually made him a personal invitation to come to D.C. And work with him, and my grandfather said, no, I want to go back and work with my family business. So, but at one point in time, he actually had, so let me step back. At the time, until the deregulation of the transportation industry in 1980, I believe it was, you had to have operating rights for every county and every state to be able to do business. So what my grandfather would do is he would go and buy small trucking companies, moving companies across the country, liquidate them, and then keep their operating rights. So at one point in time, we were actually one of the largest companies in the country, quite frankly.
Wow.
Then deregulation came and things changed that a little bit. But from the time I was 12 or 13, I was out in the moving trucks. We were taught a hard work ethic, that things aren't handed to you. You have to kind of add to the till, if you will. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that, because I don't know that a lot of people have had that opportunity to really work like that. My grandfather used to say, I refer to him a lot because he and I spent when I came out of college, I spent the last probably 5 or 6 years with him by his side before he passed away, and was a really great guy, really smart businessman, and I really enjoyed everything. But what he would say is that he used to have a lot of kids that would work college, summers off in college, and he said some of them became doctors and lawyers because they never wanted to work that hard ever again.
But they figured it out, and they knew what hard work was.
Absolutely.
So that led you into real estate. How did you bridge the connection?
So what had happened was, after my grandfather passed away, as family businesses do, there was some struggles back and forth, and my dad had finally just decided that he was done, wanted to retire, and so he did. He actually fully retired in 2015. So this was kind of leading up. The license was kind of leading up to his departure from the organization, because I had no stake, and there was no reason for me to stay there if he wasn't a shareholder any longer. My Aunt Kitty had gotten her license, I believe, in either 96 or 97. And she and I were talking. She said, well, why don't you get your license, come work with me, try it out. You may not like it, you may like it, but she goes, I think you may. And that was the birth of our beginning of the real estate business.
And so you work on a team with your Aunt Kitty.
Yeah.
Any other team members, or is it just
the two of us?
Just the two of you.
Just the two of us.
Powerhouse.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Because we sit at the same brokerage, I see what you guys do, and you're killing it.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It's
just being the two of you.
It's been an interesting year. Well, as you know, we moved to Hannah last year. That was a transition year, but this year has been incredible. It's really, we're probably on track to do over 20 million in sales, if not 25 this year.
Nice.
If everything closes as we have listed. So, which is, we were always doing 10, 11, 12 million a year, which is a decent amount.
Decent.
But this has really been a big springboard for us, and really taking advantage of it's all about working with the people that and quite frankly, 95% of our business comes from repeat referrals. We don't have to do a lot of farming or beating the bushes to get clients, and I think that also stems from the job we do. People are pleased at the end of it. So
yeah,
and it's the referrals from one party to another party.
Absolutely.
Who says, "Oh, you got to use my agent."
So you shared that you made a transition last year. What were some of the, and you don't have to call anybody out. I say shocking things. If you want to, you can. What were some of the things that triggered you to start thinking about, like, hey, I need a different brokerage, or I need a change to get that boost, to get that springboard? What were you feeling in that moment that made you feel like we need a change?
And was it a joint decision, or was it one of you over the other? Because there were both of you who were making the decision together.
Right. Well, it was, so we really hadn't even thought about making a change, quite frankly. the funny part was the Remax convention and the Hannah convention overlapped each other in Las Vegas in 2023.
Yep.
So I'm on this flight to Vegas with like all these Howard Hanna agents and like 1 or 2 Remax agents. So my now manager Bob Friend caught me in the luggage claim and said, hey, what do you ever think about coming over? I was like, oh no, Bob, we're really happy. I mean, I love my broker, which I still do. She's great. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at without her today. He said, well, let's just go have lunch when we get back to Pittsburgh. So, we went and had lunch and didn't really go anywhere. And he kept pursuing me, and we had a conversation. It actually took about a year to really get down to brass tacks and negotiate what that shift was going to look like. And we ultimately made a decision to come over. I think I was pushing the train more than Aunt Kitty was, because she had been with our broker then for 20 some years. It was,
yeah.
I mean, they were good friends, and I got to tell you, having that conversation with my broker, I mean, I can still tear up today because I have so much love and respect for her. And it had nothing to do with her. I mean, everything there was great.
Yeah.
But I just saw that the opportunities that Hannah was going to give me would take me to that next level. And I
clearly it worked.
Right. I mean, I think so. And I think that especially in Pittsburgh, I think the name recognition of that brokerage,
that family
carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Well, they originated out here in Pittsburgh, right?
Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
Al, when we left Aunt Denise's, at the first intersection, it was Hannah sign, Hannah sign, Hannah sign. Like, jeez. Okay, there's 3 listings back there.
Well, and actually, Aunt Kitty, she went to school with Annie, Hannah's sister, who's again, Helen, her sister Annie, who's the chief operating officer of Howard Hanna. They grew up together basically, so they've been friends for a very long time. And actually, Kitty said to me, I mean, when she got her license back then, she was just doing it part-time. Hannah wasn't really taking part-time agents on at the time.
That makes sense.
Or she probably would have ended up at Hannah right off the bat. I think they've changed that model now, but it's
They have to a point.
so,
Listen, Helen is my spirit animal. Okay?
I love Helen. Yeah, she's the best.
Spirit animal.
So I don't know if you knew this. She was on. Oh, it feels like forever ago, but she was on earlier this year.
I do remember you have her on, yeah.
And just hearing her perspective of the company and the industry and everything, it just truly solidifies that she is an icon to the real estate industry, period.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what state you're in. I don't care if Hannah's in that state or not. Like, Helen truly is an icon.
Yeah.
Also, if they're listening, Heather was still waiting for her T-shirt.
T-shirt. All I wanted was a Howard Hanna T-shirt.
Just remind BB's coming next, right?
Yes.
I got so excited when I saw that you had a store. I thought I was going to go shopping.
So it was so funny.
So disappointed.
I send BB a text, and I'm like, hey, I had a cancellation on Saturday. I know this is last minute. Can you make it? Oh, by the way, this is Nick. I then send a selfie. She calls me, and I'm like, hey. She goes, you're the only Nick in my life. You don't have to re-solidify with pictures. I'm like, you never know.
Well, BB's also a powerhouse in her own right.
I adore her.
Another one I love.
She's obviously you'll hear about it. She's making a change, stepping back a little bit. But she was our regional manager for the East region of Pittsburgh, and when I got the email saying that, I almost broke down in tears because I really have a lot of love and admiration and respect for her.
I don't know something.
Oh, you'll hear about it.
Okay.
So. It's not a secret.
You heard about it.
Yeah.
Right? Flash news, breaking
news.
news.
It's not a secret. It's not a secret because it came out the other day.
Welcome to Selling Sunset. We're going to start the gossip.
No.
Bang, bang. No.
She's going to step back into an actual manager role of an office.
That's great.
Yeah.
That office is damn fucking
What
looking.
you should be is jealous.
I might go there.
Yeah, you need to be jealous.
Can I get a transfer?
Exactly.
Seriously.
It's worth the drive.
We'll talk to her about that.
Yeah, like honestly, when you look at why you stay in the real estate industry, what are the reasons that, because it's obvious, we asked Brian this, it's probably going to be a question we ask a lot today. It's obvious that there's been some turbulence and the public has either a negative or they weren't even paying attention opinion. Depends. It's one or the other. Why do you stay? Why do you feel that it's important and you don't jump ship and go get that job working 9 to 5?
Well, I think first of all, I love what I do. I think it's an awesome avenue for really helping people. from all walks of life, from one end of the spectrum to the other, and helping them fulfill their dreams. I mean, that's a big thing for me. And there's also a lot of other positives. I mean, it gives you you say you make your own schedule. I mean, but obviously we all work crazy hours. But
24/7.
If I don't want to take a meeting until 10 o'clock, I don't set a meeting until 10 o'clock. Things like that. I've never been a morning person. Never, ever, ever have I been a morning person.
Which is why he was late. It's
okay.
Because I tried to do 9 a.m.
Right. You do have that freedom, but then at the same token, we don't have a lot of freedom because I've had clients who have even said to me, it was like Labor Day weekend, and they're like, "Oh, you're off," and I'm like, "Well, no, I'm actually showing 4 houses." And well, when do you? I'm confused. I said, "Well, when other people are off, I'm usually on. Like I could all day long work on paperwork." And then come 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 9 o'clock at night, I'm out showing houses because everybody's gotten done work and they want to get out and they want to look at things. So you're right. It's the mornings I have a tendency to try and take back for myself, and because I know I'll be going until 9 o'clock at night. Right.
Well, I actually have a good friend of mine who's in the industry, also another powerhouse, who she gets up really early, gets a lot of work done, and then she blocks off 2 hours for like a nap siesta time just for herself every day, because otherwise you burn yourself out, right? I mean, the way we work, the amount of stress that we get under, and
that's smart. A snapatizer.
Yeah, I like that because I start every day at 5 a.m.
Yeah,
that's my quiet time where I can get emails done till about 7 when my phone starts ringing, and I shit you not, my phone will ring and Kelly goes, "Oh, it's 7:30." I'm like, yep. Just my phone will start. It's every single day anymore. Yeah. And then I go till 8, 9 o'clock at night. I love that. I think I'm going to start doing that. Just that middle of the day. I'll probably only do an hour because I'm psycho. But
she's a big producer. I mean,
I love that.
I mean, I think that's one thing we
failed to do.
We all fail to do is take time for ourselves. Mm-hmm. Somebody actually pointed that out to me not too long ago.
Yeah.
Because you do get burnt out. I mean, you do work long hours. There's a lot of stress, and where that stress is necessary or not, I don't know. I think sometimes people in this industry just
do it to themselves,
and then create everybody else havoc around everybody else, and it's not fun. I mean, I've been lucky this year. I mean, I've had a number of transactions that have gone absolutely smoothly, but I've also had a couple doozies where it's just
she's dealing with a doozy right now.
I don't want to talk about
I have a doozy as well. I mean,
I don't want to talk about
it makes you appreciate. I actually even said this to a client the other day. I was like, "Hun, you have made it to number 1 worst transaction. It's not even your fault. It's the seller side." And she's like, "Nick, I'm so sorry." I was like, "You don't apologize. You've been great. You've done everything I've asked. You've gotten your stuff in on time. It's not you, boo boo."
So far I have a winner for a girlfriend of mine, or my cousin who's also in real estate, Lisa. She posted the other day that she hit an all-time high with a client request. She had to go and pick up a death certificate at the funeral home for her client. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the all-time high. He actually asked if she wouldn't mind picking up the urn while she's there.
Jesus Christ.
And because of her crazy schedule, Mom is riding around in her car until she can meet her client. I was like, this is the best. Well, this is the stuff we do.
Going back to the moving industry, probably the one similarly along these lines, one time we had clients, they were getting divorced, and it was a really nasty divorce. And the wife decided to have her mother dug up and moved with her to where she was moving across the country. We didn't have to take her, but we had to go pry the tombstone out of the cemetery.
Jesus.
Oh Lord!
To go with all the stuff that she was taking. So
it's not a final resting place.
No, that was not final for
her. Oh my God.
So, what advice would you give any new agent or any person who's thinking about getting into the industry? Any advice that you would give them?
Don't.
Well, I say the same. Think long and hard.
No, I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity, but I think people, they watch TV and I think they're a little misguided that it's like all this glitz and glamour and big paychecks. Well, I mean, that's a possibility, but there's not a lot of glitz and glamour that goes along with it.
Wait, this isn't glitz and glamour.
Yeah, well, this is fun. Yeah. But
I've been scrubbing floors.
I was down. I had to figure out one time how to. Wells are not prevalent around Pittsburgh, but this place had a well and it tested positive, and I had to find out how to. I was down a well, dumping Clorox into it and recirculating it so it could kill all the bacteria. So
just call me. Wills, I'm on a well. Wells are coming my way. Just call me. I got you.
I'm like, literally, there's a picture of me down a well dumping Clorox. So
that is one way of doing it.
It's a lot of hard work. But I think if you're getting into the industry, I think you need to be prepared for that. You need to be prepared to work hard. I think finding somebody, I think the biggest reason for our success is that, Aunt Kitty had a lot of years in the business, took me under her wing. I've kind of taken the lead a little bit now, but I wouldn't be there without her and her nurturing and learning from her. Same with my former broker. I think it's you find somebody that's going to take care of you that you can learn from, and then eventually you can flourish on your own. But again, don't be afraid of the hard work because it's tough.
It's happening.
It is. I mean, and the industry is always. And I'll just talk to Aunt Kitty because she and I are also spirit animals here because of the time that we started in real estate to when you both got into the industry. It was a big difference,
Sure.
Computers and dial-up and the internet.
Well, I remember her,
Kelly
the old
Heather had
books.
carbon copy.
I don't know if you had them in Philadelphia, but they would print out the
MLS book.
I'm like, how that? I mean, that's
so.
And
if anybody's not getting
you would have to
it,
fight each other at the front door to get it.
We've got the full-on vet. Then next, and then I'm technically the baby of the industry.
Yeah, even though I hopefully, due to my very expensive eye cream, look a little younger. I've been also
How many years?
Licensed since '96.
So 96.
Yeah.
Licensed since
2014.
Yeah.
And mine was 19.
Yeah. So definitely, you learned a lot from her, from
Sure.
the differences that changed, and then now. I find myself even stepping back and learning from newer agents, like things like...
Because things have changed.
Oh, listen, the video tours and the aerial... we had...
And TikTok.
TikTok. Being in my
Not for me either.
Thank you.
Not for me, thank you.
I have 12 followers. I'm very proud of my 12 followers.
Instagram going.
I have no idea.
Okay, so you want to know a secret?
David and I are kindred spirits, though, because David we will send reels back and forth.
So you want to know a secret?
Yeah.
I don't handle it. I have a direct hire employee that handles all of our socials.
That's
okay,
awesome.
maybe I need
because
that.
I don't have the patience for TikTok. I literally just send stuff and say, make it look good.
Yeah. Exactly.
No idea. I have no idea.
And he does phenomenal. He does our podcast editing, absolutely
That's
phenomenal.
amazing.
But
I love it.
I'm at that age where I literally am finding myself going, I'm just not doing that.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, you don't have to.
And now there's another thing that's trying to take over from TikTok. I'm like, guys, there's enough stuff.
But I think having a social media presence is important.
It is.
I've connected with so many people from my past through that see the success and they're like, oh, call David, or they pointed people in my direction. So I think it's important. But going back to learning, another thing I would have for a new agent, somebody coming into the business, is pick up the phone. And pick up the phone. You can't. It's so hard to negotiate via text because you lose so much. And I think that's a problem too. I think the people we've seen come into the business from 2020 on, who, it was easy. You stuck a sign in the yard, and you got 10 offers, and you didn't have to negotiate.
So
I think
nice.
now that things have slowed down a little bit, the negotiation skills are really coming out, and where people are. I think it's a lacking thing.
You're seeing inspections again.
Right.
You're seeing under asking. Yeah.
And you have to set the expectations for the sellers and the buyers.
Sure.
And you're right. So 110%.
Yeah.
So 5 years, where do you see you and Kitty? Are
Um,
we hiring anybody?
I don't know that we're going to hire. We'll see. It depends on what her long-term plan is over the next 5 years. I think it's something we need to discuss. But I think that we continue on. I'd like to see. I think that in this last year, I've entered the realm of selling more higher-end luxury real estate, which was always kind of my plan and dream. And that's a tough gig in and of itself because it's just a whole other animal. Somebody told me one time you could sell a $100,000 house or a $5 million house. It's the same. Well, the process is the same, but you get a little bit of difference in.
It's different.
Marketing's different.
I'll be completely honest. I'd rather sell two $500,000 houses than $1 million plus house.
Yeah.
Or I'd rather sell a boatload of $100,000 to $250,000 houses than multi-million-dollar houses.
I would say because of the way prices have fluctuated, I'm good with that million and under. Because even that million, you're still in that range of that 5 to 750. The marketing's kind of the same. The process, your pool of buyers are smaller. But once you get over that mark, yes.
But the people are different.
Oh yeah, they are.
It's the luxury end market. And don't get me wrong, I sold quite a few luxury and stuff, but not as much as I would, because that's just not where I feel like my vibe is. You know, you have to know designers and finishes and things like that. And I appreciate a bathtub. Would I stand there and be like, this is a wonderful $25,000 bathtub? No, I'd be like, it's a nice bathtub. Does the drain plug work? You know, but that's just me. And it takes a certain agent who has that niche for it, that vibe, the finesse. Yeah. 110%.
That eye for
110%. I have, like, my work husband, that was what he did. That was his side. He would handle all that, and he'd be like, oh, did you see that? I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a great tapestry on the wall. No idea. No idea. You know, he was telling me all about the wallpaper. No idea.
But David's shoes.
Oh, yes. David's shoes are always on point.
Yeah, they are orange.
He's always on point.
Can we get an eraser? There's a mark.
Is there a mark?
No.
Oh.
I heard the story. I died.
Did you look at him?
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah. David, thank you so much.
Mid-meeting, David asked me for a pencil because he had a scuff on his shoe.
Heather had an eraser though.
I did. I had a mechanical pencil.
That's gonna cause some fireworks in a couple days. So.
I had a mechanical pencil.
Thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us today.
No,
I'm excited. I'm going to spend some time with you for a couple days, though.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's always one of my favorite things. Going to Harrisburg, being a part of the.
If you want, apparently we're doing a bus tour down, and then you guys train back. We leave Sunday.
Keep it up, and I just might hop in one of their cars.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Brian, he's stopping in Carlisle
to charge.
Your place.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, no. Thank you for coming to all the way to Pittsburgh. It's always a pleasure. We always have great times when you.
Oh my God.
When you go through here. Yeah. So don't get lost on your way out.
Fucking bridges.
Well, everybody, that was another episode of Turning the Key to Real Estate. I am your host, Nicholas Feagley.
And Heather Petrone-Shook.
Don't forget to like, follow, share for more great content like this today.